What's going on, everybody? It's Max with WNC Heights. We are currently on Cowee Mountain Road, and we've decided to pull off real quick at this cool little area that comes off the side of the mountain. It's a healing spring, I guess you can call it. That's what he has it posted as. And essentially, he's hooked up a hose out of the ground to release water from the spring, which is really neat. We get ready. Boom, boom.
I'm trying so hard.
I know you are. Here goes the other one. You ready? Dang, dang. What's going on, everybody? Sarah and I have made it to the trailhead. We are going to be hiking here in Norton, North Carolina, in the Nantahala National Forest to an historical site of Yellow Mountain. So we'll get it going and we'll see y'all up there. So there's a few ways that you can take this trail. You can actually come from Highlands, North Carolina, and come up 7.5 miles, which I've done once before and I will probably never do again. Or you can come up through the National Forest here on the Norton side and head up about, I think it's about a mile and a few hundred feet elevation gain. It's not that insane. Or you can go through private property on the other side of the mountain and go through the gate. And if you know the code, you can actually drive up to the top and just get out and walk. But today we're going to take more of the leisure trail and just enjoy it. I mean, we're both off today and we're excited, and we're going to go play golf later. I haven't hiked Yellow Mountain in the spring or summertime in quite some time, and I forget that the trail is just like any other mountain trail in the summertime where it's just fully overgrown and narrow and there's just bees everywhere. But since we're here, take a look at this. You have another one of those trees that kind of lean out and shoot straight up again.
We've gained 677 feet.
The difference between the laurelwood and the rhododendron, I believe, is the flower type. Although they look very familiar, here's actually a great example. The laurelwood is a little bit smaller of a leaf and white flowers, and the rhododendron is a much larger bush with much bigger leaves, and these would actually bloom pink in comparison to white. You can actually see it all the way down the trail here. It is. And we've made it to the top. Yellow Mountain Fire Tower. So the town of Cashiers is right in front of me, and directly behind the fire tower there is Franklin, North Carolina. I think we're sitting right around 5,200, 5,300 feet up, and it's beautiful up here. This nice, beautiful rock outcrop with some really cool moss, I think. I'm not sure, but check that out. Little pools of water. You can tell people have had fires up here. And up top, you actually get a full 360 view. So let's head on up there. Oh, wow, it's nasty in here. I guess people come up and camp obviously leave anything they don't want to take back down in here. I have no idea what's in here. Maybe y'all can see. Looks like a whole bunch of trash. But the stonework's cool. If I'm not mistaken, these fire towers were built during the Roosevelt era, kind of right around when the National Forest and National Park Foundation started. So this is a pretty old fire tower. I think from the 30s. I'll have to double check myself on that. But it is beautiful. And all right, now we're gonna head up to the top.
It hurts so bad. I do think when I go that.
So a lot of these buildings up top of mountains have these lightning rods on them, and they're connected to these metal cables that go all the way down into the ground. So if lightning were to hit one of the buildings or one of the roof, it would hit the rod instead and send all the electricity to the ground to protect this fire tower, which is probably why it's probably lasted as long as it has. Coming up on 100 years is pretty insane. So historical marker, whatever, it's pretty neat. There's some side trails that you can definitely take out. I think this takes you over to a rock face over here, which looks at Franklin, and we're definitely gonna go check that out. So a different look at the cable wire that's shot into the rock over here. If lightning hits the tower, it's anchored in pretty deep. It's probably about a foot or two down in the rock, and what happens is it'll hit the rod, shoot through this cable, and then scatter throughout the ground. As you can tell, they actually replaced it once before, and I'm sure there's maintenance on it every now and then, but still cool little perspective to see it from. So while we were up top in the fire tower, Sarah found this nice little leaf, and actually here it is right here. This little picture of it, and we found the tree that the leaves form on, and it is a California black oak tree. And I think it's one of Sarah's favorites so far.
Oh, some pieces.
So this fire tower was actually built in 1934 by the United States Forest Service and Civilian Conservation Corps. It's actually the highest point in the Highlands Ranger District, sitting around 5,289 feet. It was used for fire watch and detection. They had staff up here until 1969. Then the tower itself fell into disrepair. They restored it back in the mid-1980s, and they recognized it as a National Historic Lookout in 1992. So it offers panoramic views and surrounding mountains and beyond. So it's pretty beautiful. So if you look up in the sky, and it looks a little bit hazy, it's actually from the dust from the Sahara Desert in Africa. So what happens is the Saharan dust is formed from sand and dust particles lifted from the Sahara Desert in North Africa and then transported across the Atlantic with strong winds known as trade winds. It's picked up and carried across the Atlantic Ocean. This usually occurs during the late spring, early summertime, or early fall months. If you can't tell, obviously the effects of it are the visibility, air quality, and even weather. With weather, Saharan dust can inhibit the formation and development of tropical cyclones by reducing moisture in the air, which is really good for us on the East Coast during the early summertime, just to avoid any sort of tropical weather like what we experienced last season. All right, everybody, that ends it for us. Hopefully you enjoyed everything. Total time today on the trail was just under an hour at 59 minutes. Total distance was 188. And I don't have, elevation. We hit 5,200 and we started at 4,300. So thank y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.